the goop. How's everybody doing? Well, I see humans are fighting humans as they always have, so I'm just not gonna deal with that right now. Let's get into something more important than even that. So as you know, I've been talking a lot about food supply, and there's been a new study on food supply on the world. They say there are 4 major foods that people in the world eat, and those 4 major grains are wheat, rice, maize, and soybeans. How are these foods going to survive the oncoming heat waves? It's not all bad. In fact, it was kind of surprisingly good in some ways. But let's get into the details. Windy, cool San Francisco evening.
That was really quite a sight. You gather around, folks, while I give
So before this new study, we had no idea what the reaction to the food grains would be to higher temperatures and more extreme weather. But I'm afraid we now know the truth through this study, and it looks interesting. If there's only 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature, the outcome of food production overall will be less. And that's exactly what we expected. Wheat yields will be down by 6%. Rice yields will be down by 3.2%. Maize will be down by 7.4%. And soybeans is either no difference or maybe even a little bit better crop with 1 degree rise in temp. But you know the problem here is that we're going to go shooting right past 1 degree to about 3 or 4 degrees, and maybe even as high as 7 degrees. And by 7 degrees rise, we'll be out of food. There's no doubt about it. Just a 1 degree rise in temperature Celsius could even spell serious trouble in food supply. There will be shortages with just that little amount of food being taken away. Now, this study finds that at the time of the study, we had 74 days worth of food supplied in most of the world. I find that hard to believe that it's that high, because the studies I've been looking at show it less. There are 3 links down in the description area showing you why I can't quite give up yet. Humans are very intelligent, and they are coming up with some solutions. So at this time, let's go to the board. I want to show you this. So let's talk about an alternative to land farming. This is the kind of farming that could save the planet by opening up our farmlands back to wildlands, where we can plant lots of native vegetation to soak up all the extra CO2. And by planting trees and forests, you take up the CO2, which then can be immediately released back to the environment if we need to, because we're going into a glacier period. We're going to need that CO2. We don't want to get rid of it. We want to store it. And one of the best ways is in vegetation. So let's go to the board for an advanced way of farming organic and no pesticide. Fantastic. And yes, it's already being done here in California. A lot of our food is already grown this way, and it really tastes good. This is a very large building, probably close to 1 or 2 blocks of urban blockage. In other words, it would cover probably 1/4 of a mile of land. But the amount of food you'd get out of this is absolutely amazing, and it's being done already today here in California. So on the building you have lots of solar panels on the walls. Everywhere you can put a solar panel, you should put one on a building like this. So the old way of lighting inside of a building was a halide lamp, halogen bulbs, which took a lot of power but did grow good fruits and vegetables. Then they switched over to fluorescence, which cut costs about 50%. But now we're on LED lighting, and the cost of farming like this is much, much more in line with what people can afford. Now, there's another type of lighting here, which takes a fiber optic tube and runs it out to the wall. The light comes in naturally, and this light is converted over to here and then distributed along the plants, making it almost as good as sunlight, but not quite. By using hydroponics in a building, enclosed building, you use 95% less fresh water. That's excellent. Right there is every reason we should go into indoor gardening. Now, the fluid is sprayed over the plants and leaks down, is treated in its own treatment plant, and it goes back into use. So you're just using your water very, very, very well. Now, there's horizontal farming and there's vertical farming. Now, vertical farming has its own advantage to horizontal farming. Down below are 3 videos showing some of this and some of the stuff I've been talking about. So one other thing that this kind of system's going to need is a lot of batteries for when the power goes out. They have to have the lights on. And lithium ion phosphate batteries are the latest thing. They're going to be completely recyclable. They're mostly non-toxic and are the battery of the future for now. So at this point, it really does look like technology is the only way to save our planet. It doesn't look like we're going to do it any other way but purely brain power. And it has to be earth-friendly. And this type of technology is about as friendly to the planet as we can get. This is just at the beginning stage too, people, because when this kind of technology is refined after about 20 years, you won't be seeing much in the way of land use for growing food anymore. That is if we can stop ourselves from nuclear war or annihilating ourselves. But it will require that we don't fight with each other as much, that we become peaceful with each other and start dealing with this problem head on. Stupid saying, huh? Oh. How does one feed 7.5 to 10 billion people on this planet? Well, they're not going to do it the conventional way. They're going to have to take some of this technology and use it in their advantage. There is one question: is there enough fossil fuel to build all the infrastructure that is needed? And we haven't even started yet.